County Executive Anthony Picente on the line right now. Yesterday, the governor's speech. Tony, I should say, Anthony Brindisi's speech was yesterday in Utica. No show by the governor. But I think Anthony Picente, the shock was no mention of Utica whatsoever.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, this is not one of those fake news networks, is it?
I'm going to try to. I'm going to try to make sure we get everything legitimately down here for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
The slight of, no mention of Utica, but no mention of anything. Mohawk Valley, I think, was even more shocking and egregious, especially when he reviewed. I could start at the top when he reviewed nanotechnology being an industry that is growing in the state, in upstate New York specifically, and he went across the state and talked about Albany, and he talked about Rochester, and he talked about Buffalo, and it was the perfect opportunity to put a sentence in there, or two or three, to tell the people of Utica and Oneida County and that we're committed to a chip fab plant in Marcy, and that all those things will come together, and whatever else he could have said. And so that was slight number one. Slight number two, and I'm not trying to remember what was first. That may have been second, but I think when he talked about drones, they didn't know what a drone was until we got the license at Griffiths International Airport. We were instrumental in that. We went out and got it with a group from New Air with Senator Chuck Schumer, I might add, to bring them to Oneida County. We hold the license. We have the test site, yet there's no mention of us in terms of the whole drone expansion and growth and the part. We have a great partnership with the Center State CEO. Nothing mentioned there. And, from that point, it's I coined it, and when because they put up SOS as State of the State, I coined it State of Syracuse. That could have been delivered by Onondaga Executive Joni Mahoney or Stephanie Miner, the mayor. It was really beyond. I just don't have the words. I thought maybe in the morning I'd feel a little more calmer than I did yesterday. I was really it's outrageous, and I don't know what's causing this, and I don't know why. Even
a mention of and to the people of Utica, I feel your pain. We're going to fix this.
Well,
none of it, nothing.
We I didn't go, and I was upset like everyone else or many of us about not even being considered for a site, but that was secondary and actually even lower than that probably in terms of tell us something, tell us what's going on, and tell us that you're committed to this region. You can't tout upstate and then leave everything out. And in that speech, the only other region mentioned, the only other area was the southern tier for hemp farming. Really?
Yeah.
Is that what we've come to in terms of, I thought that was a slight in terms of saying that that's all southern tier with the universities that they have and the industries that hemp farming is going to be their catch-all for economic development. It was, and I just think as he traveled around the state and each address was somewhat different, it's just mind-blowing that this has taken place this way. And I'm really, I don't know what else to say. I've expressed my displeasure to the governor's office about it and beyond. Haven't talked to him. Of course, we haven't heard from him, over these 4 weeks, plus that we lost the AMS deal.
Yeah.
A phone call would be nice. A shout-out would be nice. It would be better. Being here is the most important thing, and nothing. And it's so it's very discouraging, very disappointing, and needless to say, unacceptable.
Andrew.
Do you fear that that was in some way the governor's way of saying, I'm going to direct funds and my attention now to nano and UAS projects specifically in Syracuse and forget Utica?
Well, if you didn't know any better, right. you would think that, or if you were not involved in anything whatsoever, if you were listening to that speech as someone who really didn't know what happened at AMS or even know that nanotechnology was a function or a process taking place in Utica and at SUNY Poly. We have all of cybersecurity, lab at Utica College. I mean, we have some. You talk about technology, and you leave out a place that has the Air Force Research Lab at Rome Laboratory,
right?
Which he has never been to. The cybersecurity piece at Utica College that I mentioned, and all of the other tech companies that we've been successful with and known. You would not know that. And as far as drones, no, people would have no idea and think that they're flying out of Hancock, which incidentally goes and gets $40 million, almost $40 million in airport money that we didn't know anything about. That we were in that competition, but all of a sudden we didn't know it was going to be announced at the State of the State, and Hancock gets the $35 million, and Plattsburgh gets the other share, and Griffiths that we invested, and they even used, I mean, let's say how crazy it was, they even used a picture of Griffiths in the Albany presentation to say what they were going to build at Plattsburgh in terms of their in terms of their custom center that we built with our own dime, with our own taxpayers' money, in here in Oneida County.
This is more of a snub than I even had thought.
I really can't. Yeah, I really can't. Every extra moment that I have to think about this and try and figure out what happened or why or where we are, and it's just like I said. Very disappointing. I mean, disappointing is not even the right word.
I asked Anthony Brindisi this same question. Have you talked to Roanne? I mean, she's the one that is in this high-level position appointed by the governor.
Well, look, no, and I know, but I'll put it out there before people say anything. I've had a great working relationship with the governor. I'm one of the guys who endorsed him a few years ago, and I'll put that out there.
I was going to bring that up next.
You can bring that up, and that's fine. Yep. Well, and the governor I endorsed is not the governor of the last year, because I don't understand that. Now, at the time, and I stand by that. I never reverse course in terms of a decision. I was confident he was leading us and helping me move my region forward in my county, and that's why I did it. And I believed that then. I believed it up until yesterday, and when I see this speech that and then throughout the state that, and for his staffers or whoever writes it and his press people to say that all regions are covered. That's just not true. Read the speeches.
Here's a fear, and I know that others throughout the state are going after the governor. Anthony Brindisi is not holding an ounce back. He is going at him full bore. And but the governor has this ability to be able to. I'm going to put candy over here. I'm going to put candy over here. And by the way, if you're getting candy from the governor, you don't want to. You become quiet. Because
I fear that.
Yeah,
and people said that as well, and is that is taking shots at him, and I don't think they're shots. I think they're valid questions.
I agree. Yeah.
The issue is if you disagree or whatever, but I will go. Let's go back to Syracuse, where the state of Syracuse was held yesterday, and look and see someone who I know very well. I've worked with on some projects. Mayor Stephanie Miner, outspoken critic of the governor, and her own party, like Anthony, and actually at one point was vice chair of the Democrat State Committee. So held the position. But Syracuse did very well yesterday.
Yeah, they
continue to do very well. So you can't say that it's the outspoken critics who get punished in that regard. And if you look across the state, state legislators on the whole pretty much. Didn't go, and then there were six addresses that again included Syracuse, Buffalo, Albany, the Hudson Valley, Long Island, New York City. So
we're completely left out of this.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to be left out of the location; it's the other thing to be left out of the agenda,
out of the speech, the agenda,
and that's really, the problem here. And for the times I've agreed with him and supported him, I've said and I believe he's wrong, and I made it very clear to his staff yesterday that this is an insult.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to come and apologize to me. He needs to talk to the people of this community.
I would ask you what's next, but I don't think that anybody knows what's next.
Well, I think what's next is look a visit, call. That reassurance will still go a long way in talking about, what they're going to do for, to fix some of these things that we have here. And look, the mayor of Utica was there yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So if you wanted to take the slight, didn't want to talk about drones, which I'm not even sure he knows that we have the test site. That would be a nice thing for him to understand. I mean, but the most important part, can't test drones without a test site and a license.
Right.
And we hold it, so that's number one. The other thing on Nano, he knows all that. He's been through that. How about the hospital? How about talking about the hospital being built in Utica? And
a little bit of reinsurance to make people feel comfortable that money is still going to be there would help.
The other night I was at home, and after a long day, and my phone rang about 9:00 that night, and Senator Chuck Schumer called. Now, Senator Schumer is the top, the minority leader of the Senate, top Democrat in the United States. Called me up because he had worked on the JetBlue announcement, and we had, shared some text and calls and had him hooked up. Guy had time to give me a call and talk to me and see what was going on and how we could help and do that. And you think he's got a lot on his plate right now? Yeah. And my point is, so where's our governor?
This is a shocking turnaround from last year at this time. It's you never would have ever predicted this. Although there are people saying, "Listen, I told you so. You can't trust this governor."
Well, everybody could say, "I told you so." And look, you hear that. You hear that all the time.
Yep.
I hear that all the time. And I did. And I hear that, and that's fine. I did what and I still stand by. I did what was right for my community then, in terms of the projects and the pieces that we had moving forward. It's a different time. I mean, there's certainly not, this is not an election year, but regardless, I mean, I still, as I've always, stood up for my community first.
Yeah.
That's my job. That's my role. That's what I believe, and I'll continue to do that and speak out in that regard. And so, at the same time, people can say I told you so, but my issue now is to fix this problem, not
all right.
All the other pieces of it.
I appreciate the update, Tony.
No, I appreciate the time.
It's we never could have predicted this last year into today. Even the people that were predicting it, you couldn't have predicted this.
No, I don't think so.
Just could not have been. It's just crazy. All right, thanks so much, County Executive.
Thanks.
Boy, just unbelievable.